Doctrine of basic structure of the Constitution. First, historical evolution and genesis. Pre-Keshavananda position. Parliament's unlimited amending power under Article 368. Shankari Prasad versus Union of India 1951. Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan 1965. Golak Nath versus State of Punjab 1967. Fundamental Rights Amendment challenged. Constitutional background. Article 368 Amendment Procedure. Conflict between Parliament's amending power and judicial review. Tussle between legislature and judiciary. Fundamental rights versus directive principles debate. The landmark Keshwanath Bharati case 1973. Case background. His Holiness Keshwana Bharati versus State of Kerala. Challenged Kerala Land Reform Act 1963. 29th Constitutional Amendment challenged. Largest bench in Supreme Court history, 13 judges, heard for 68 days. He questions extent of Parliament's amending power. Whether fundamental rights can be amended. Whether amendment power includes destroying Constitution's identity. Relationship between fundamental rights and directive principles. Historic judgment. 7-6 majority decision. Basic structure doctrine propounded. Parliament can amend any part but cannot destroy basic structure. Judiciary as ultimate interpreter of basic structure. Components of basic structure. Judicially identified features. Federal structure. Federal character of constitution. Balance between center and states. State sovereignty in allocated spheres. Division of legislative powers. Democratic principles. Republican and democratic form of government. Free and fair elections. Parliamentary democracy. Rule of law. Fundamental rights protection. Judicial review. Protection of individual dignity. Equality before law. Liberty of thought and expression. Constitutional identity. Supremacy of constitution. Secular character. Sovereign democratic republic. Unity and integrity of nation. Social justice principles. Harmony between fundamental rights and directive principles. Welfare state concept. Social and economic justice. Subsequent judicial elaboration. Landmark cases expanding doctrine. Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan 1975. Democracy as basic feature. Free and fair elections essential. Rule of law inviolable. Minerva Mills versus Union of India 1980. Limited amending powers. Power reaffirmed. Harmony between parts 3 and 4 essential. Judicial review basic feature. Vaman Rao versus Union of India 1981. Doctrine applicable post Keshavananda. Protection of pre 1973 amendment. Clarified temporal application. S.R. Bomai versus Union of India 1994. Secularism basic feature. Federalism fundamental. Judicial review essential. Key elements of basic structure. Identified basic features. Supremacy of constitution. Republican and democratic form of government. Secular character. Federal structure. Unity and integrity of nation. Welfare state. Judicial review. Free and fair elections. Rule of law. Principle of equality. Independence of judiciary. Limited amending power. Effective access to justice. Principles of reasonableness. Freedom and dignity of individual. Parliamentary system. Separation of powers. Sovereign democratic republic. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship. Constitutional significance. Checks and balances. Prevents arbitrary amendments. Maintains constitutional supremacy. Protects democratic foundation. Ensure constitutional continuity. Judicial role. Guardian of constitutional values. Ultimate interpreter of constitution. Protector of people's will. Ensured, ensures constitutional morality. Democratic safeguard. Prevents parliamentary dictatorship. Protects minority rights. Ensures constitutional governance. Maintains institutional balance. Critical analysis, supportive arguments, prevents constitutional subversion, protects fundamental rights, maintains constitutional identity, ensures stability and continuity, upholds rule of law. Criticisms and concerns. Judicial overreach allegations, lack of clear definition, uncertainty in identification, anti-majoritarian difficulty, democratic legitimacy questions, contemporary applications, recent judicial pronouncement, NJC case 2015, independence of judiciary basic feature, judicial primacy in appointments protected, Aadhaar judgment 2018, privacy as fundamental right, dignity and liberty protected, demonetization case 2023, limited judicial review in economic matters, proportionality test applied, impact on constitutional governance, legislative impact, careful drafting of amendments, consideration of basic structure, judicial scrutiny anticipation, constitutional morality emphasis, executive impact, policy formulation within framework, respect for constitutional institutions, adherence to rule of law, protection of federal balance, judicial impact, enhance judicial responsibility, development of constitutional principles, protection of democratic values, evaluation of constitutional interpretation, global influence and comparative analysis, international recognition cited in foreign jurisdictions, comparative constitutional law significance, model for emerging democracies, scholarly research subject, comparative perspectives, German constitutional court influence, similar doctrines in other jurisdictions, unique Indian judicial innovation, adaptation to local constitutional context. The basic structure doctrine represents the Indian judiciary's most significant contribution to constitutional jurisprudence worldwide. It has successfully prevented constitutional autocracy while allowing necessary amendments for the national development. The doctrine continues to evolve through judicial interpretation, maintaining the delicate balance between parliamentary sovereignty and constitutional supremacy, ensuring India's constitutional democracy remains vibrant and resilient. That's it for this topic.